At the end of every year, I make it a mission to speedrun the Minecraft seed for the upcoming year as a set seed as fast as I can. Last year for the 2024 seed, my goal was to beat the seed in under 10 minutes, and after nearly 20 hours of attempts, I was finally able to achieve that goal. This year for 2025, I have the same goal because I have now set a standard that under 10 minutes is possible. But to be honest, I had no idea if this seed would cooperate or not. I never look at these seeds beforehand, so I loaded the 2025 seed for the first time on my stream to see for real if that goal would even be possible. And thankfully, at least in the overworld, it seemed to be looking amazing. I'll go over the full detailed route before the completed run, but this overworld was by far the best I've ever had for any of these set seed videos for the new year, and maybe even my best ever. But once I loaded into the Nether, that all changed quick. I loaded into a basalt biome with no bastions or fortresses nearby, and there was just a massive wall everywhere. The only bastion that was realistically playable was a housing over 400 blocks away that would take nearly 3 minutes to get to if I was lucky. Along with that, once I would be done with the housing, it would take nearly 10 pearl throws just to get to the fortress, using up a ton, if not all of my food if I didn't get lucky with a hoglin along the way. Thankfully, like last year's 2024 seed, the closest stronghold is also at 2i, so we only need to get 5 rods from the fortress, and also like last year, this end has a dragon and tower that allows for a 0 cycle, giving me a chance for a very consistent end fight. So let's go over the specifics in routing that are necessary to make this 2025 seed a sub 10-minute speedrun. And here we are on our spawn island. We spawn in facing this way, facing south. I'm pretty sure it is consistent that you always spawn in facing south in any Minecraft world. But the way we need to go immediately is to turn around. And you can see there's a room portal out that way. There's the ship over there. We're not going to this room portal. It's way too far and doesn't have anything we need. And the main thing that we're going to be doing right away is turning around to face north. Now, depending on where we spawn, we could spawn here. We could spawn somewhere around here. We're going to be doing head hitters on these trees to get ourselves a little bit more speed as we're going out to the buried treasure. The most precise stuff is all in this overworld because I want to save as much time as possible since the Nether is very linear and there's not a lot of time to make up with how far I have to traverse. So in the spirit of that, when I'm starting my swim over here, I want to get to a spot where I can get too deep immediately so I can swim, and also I want to be mining a block when I swim so I can get in earlier and also pick up the block, and this is going to allow me to have a block to place down over by the buried treasure here. Now, the reason that placing this block is important is because if I was down here, it would take much longer to break the sand because I'm underwater. But by placing this block to extend out, I can break the blocks much quicker and then get down, grab the sand, grab all the loot in the buried treasure. Now, in this buried treasure, you can probably notice that there is not a lot of iron and not a lot of gold, and that's why we need the shipwreck as much as we do. Now, it is nice that we get a good bit of food, but we are going to place our TNT in a very, very specific spot over here. I want to save 2 for the blaze spawner, so what I'm going to do, since I know I'm getting iron later, is I'm actually going to make a heavy weighted pressure plate. Just pretend this is a crafting menu instead of the creative menu. Now, what this is going to do is almost every single time, I'm going to get just enough wood from all this stuff, so I'm just going to clear my inventory to show you what I get. I'm going to get 4 wood from the oak tree, and I should also be getting 3 wood from the birch tree, but wow, that's really rare. I get 3 wood from the birch tree, and that's going to give me 7 logs. Now, whichever one gives me actually 3 logs, sometimes it's the birch, sometimes it's the oak, sometimes they both give me 4, sometimes they both give me 3, and then I have to reset. But whichever one gives me 3, I'm going to craft into planks. I'm going to make 2 crafting tables and then 2 sets of sticks, and that's going to use up all the wood, and that's going to save inventory space and also allow for easy access of the other wood for like doors and boats, since those also all have to be like one consistent type of wood. The reason I'm making 2 crafting tables is because I won't have tools yet, so I have to go over here, craft my boat and my doors, and then I'm just leaving immediately with everything else. That's because in this boat, I'm going to be getting the rest of my iron that I need, so I'm going to get a metric butt ton. This is going to give me 11 pieces. I'm actually going to have 12 because of 1 extra from the buried treasure, and then I'm going to craft everything down here, boat all the way to the magma ravine. Well, all the way. It's like not that far. It's really like 10 blocks. And then I'm going to be building a 2x1 portal somewhere down here. That's going to allow me to enter the Nether. And ideally, I want to be entering the Nether around the 1-minute 40-second mark to allow for everything else to happen the way it needs to. Once we spawn in the Nether, we have a very, very precise route we need to do, at least in the beginning. I need to be looking this way, climb up this. I'm going to have a door that I can place up here, and that's going to allow me to get to this area where I can get a boat in my hotbar, pillar up with some blocks like the dirt up here, and then I have a very specific block that I need to mine, which is actually this one right here. this basalt with the gold pick that we have, since we have 3 gold from the buried treasure, we're making a gold pick so we can absolutely blast through this wall in a 1x1 crawl. And as you can see, if I did blast through this in a 1x1 crawl, just pretend I'm 1 high, you can see it's like 4 blocks earlier than either side here. And this is going to allow me to escape out into the actual kind of part of the nether that we care about, and not this giant ugly wall of basalt that's kind of blocking us from where we need to go for so long. Once we're down here, it is very, very difficult to make up time. This is the most consistent part of the split, and we basically just have to traverse all the way down here, speed bridging a little bit over, going up this terrain, up here, building on the soul sand, climbing across this ravine, and going all the way over to the bastion. But once we're getting to the Crimson, this is where I'm hoping I can pick up a hoglin, and this would allow me to really not have to worry about food for the rest of the run. Once we get done with this traversing, we want to climb up this tree, up to this top part, because we're going to be doing top-down housing, as it's more consistent, and this isn't really manhuntable in an amazing way, since in a Crimson, I'd have to deal with a potential hoglin in the middle that can knock me into lava. I also have to deal with this tree that spawns in the middle that makes it much more annoying for pigs to pathfind correctly. So going up here allows for, again, a much more consistent route, and it still gives me so many piglins because it is a double triple housing, which means there are 2 big ramparts with a lot of piglins, as you can see. There's only one chest that I really care about, which is this one right here. It allows me to get obsidian, so I'm just going to grab obsidian from here, punch a pig, something of the sort, and go down the route like a traditional housing bastion. Once we get all of our trades from down there, we're going to be hopping out this side section, and we're going to be going over here to throw a pearl out of this bastion. This is going to be our first pearl, and we're going to be needing to throw at least 7 or so to get there. And again, this is where the actual food portion comes in really, really important. And it's important to not take damage from skeletons in the Soul Sand Valley part. It's important to not take fall damage from the basalt part. All of this adds up because I need to pearl as much as possible to traverse to this fortress as fast as I can. The first pearl is going to land us, well, sometimes down there. I don't think that's actually ever happened to me in a run. The goal is to spawn up here, then I can throw another one across to here, so that's our second pearl. Once here, we can throw a third across all of these trees, and we need to throw a fourth then to get up into this area somewhere around here. Then, if we have enough food, we can throw another one to get to here instead of running. And once we're on this edge, this is the most precise pearl throw because I need to make sure I don't hit the ceiling, and also need to make sure I don't short arm it. So if I throw it just right, like something like that, I'm going to land on the side where I can block clutch, ideally not with a crafting table, and be able to throw our last pearl, because now we can see the fortress. And this last one is just going to be up there because we're going to be entering from this top part of the fortress. Once we're here, we're going to be entering down here and then going all the way down this hallway. Now, I did have a discussion with myself that lasted a very long time, where I thought about going around this side area and entering around here because the spawner is like right here. So you could go up, maybe throw another pearl, then dig through this. But I felt like the ability to head hitter and also not having the most food most runs, that this was a little bit more consistent. I really like head hitting on this. Just allows you to go very fast, and then it also allows me to potentially get more blaze spawns as well, which always is really important. Getting as many blaze spawns as I can really affects the pace of set seeds. But then you can see the spawner's right there, and then we get to my favorite part of this run. Since we have the 2 TNT from the buried treasure, we can actually use it to blow up the spawner and allow for more spawning space very quickly without having to put out any fire from a normal blaze bed. Once we're done with all that, this is the time we're going to craft explosives for 0, all of that good stuff, and then we're going to be blasting through this wall once we get our 5 rods, and it's going to put us in a different part of the fortress. If we keep going straight, we're going to be going to this balcony, and if we break through the top left part of this balcony, we can expose an area where if we throw a pearl in just the right way, we can put ourselves basically at the cords for where we need to build our portal. So right here is where we need to build the portal, and then we're going to be digging down to 46, because if I dig one more block, we are going to be in lava. So what we're going to do is we don't want to do that because we don't want to be too low. And thankfully, when we do build our portal here, if I extend to the side, I can place obsidian here and here. And this is still low enough to put us in the portal room, which is fantastic. So if I grab a flint and steel, put it in my 1 slot, I'm standing on the right block, boom, portal room right there. Easy peasy, you see the 2-eye, and that's it. And then all I have to do to complete the run is hit the 0. But again, this is not easy. The nether is really, really bad. And again, the torturous part of this is just how slow it is to get to the bastion itself. I need to make sure the bastion is really clean, and I need to make sure the pearls are clean afterwards. And the most heavy resetting point is definitely the overworld, because I need to make sure that I'm giving myself in the nether as much time as possible. So that is all the routing. I hope you enjoy what took not too much time actually this year, which is hopefully a good omen of the sub 10 seed 2025. All right, here we go. This is the attempt that finally worked for run 2025. Now, compared to last year, well, let's start with this. You could see right off the bat, as I talked about, we're going to be doing some headers, turning around, grabbing a block. This entire overworld is just like so meticulously crafted because it is so important to get as precise as possible to save as much time as I can. I'm going to swim up, get to be able to place a block, grab this buried treasure. I grab it like pretty okay. I wanted to swim inside so I didn't have to swim in after because I want to grab the sand so I can do this and move closer to the trees. And then you're going to see pressure plate, TNT, pressure plate, stand behind, and then I'm going to organize my entire inventory. This is going to blow up all the blocks. I get my flint plus my wood, which is really nice. And then I'm going to grab a little bit more gravel because it is just nice to have as many blocks as I can. And then organize my inventory pretty much as possible. Ideally, I wouldn't have fallen in the like ocean area here, but I did, and that's just kind of what it is. But then you can see the double crafting table, the doors, the boat, and now I'm going to be spending my time organizing my inventory as I get to the boat because I want to have it as ready as possible for having tools. I'm going to leave the boat above the ship as well, and that's going to allow me, since I don't have an axe, it would take a really long time to break. And there's also a precise way that I'm crafting this. I'm crafting the gold pick first because then I'm still using the stick, and then I can do all my iron crafts after that. And then I run out of sticks, so there's no more sticks in the crafting table, but I still have the iron in my hand, and that allows me to craft the bucket. So it's very, very easy to craft everything how I do. Then I'm going to do the 2x1. I'm organizing my inventory. Everything is set up exactly how I pretty much want. This is still a little bit slow, a little bit outdated, but it's fine. And we're in the nether before the 140 mark, which I deem as like a very good run. This is one of probably my better paces. Then now everything's going to start to get very slow. We'll see the door up there, and then I'm going to get the boat out of my hotbar, and that's because I'm going to boat in this little section, and this is what the gold pick is so good for, cranking through this small area here. Now, in other previous runs, I had like used the gold pick to like insta-mine the netherrack to like have the place for the boat to place, but I decided against that in this run, and this was like the only run that I decided to do. That was the first attempt where I like made that change, and the reason was because sometimes my gold pick would break a little bit earlier, and this time I actually have an extra bit of gold pick, which doesn't really end up, I think, affecting anything at all, but it was interesting to see. Then we're just going to boat down here, get past the magma cube, and now we're at the point in the run where it is just the absolute slog of getting to the bastion. And compared to compared to 2024, that seed was so much more reset heavy at basically every single point. Once I got past that overworld section, that breaking through boat section, that was probably the biggest reset point. Like making sure I got the boat and the sprint crawl and that 1x1 was a big reset point. Now it's just go to the bastion, and it's just an absolutely monstrous trek there. You can see I'm crafting up my gravel and dirt into coarse dirt, which just allows me for more blocks, and you can see how useful those blocks are just getting to this bastion because it's absolutely insane. Then we're going to bridge out like 4 blocks, 5 blocks, hit the boat clutch. Oh my god, I'm so good at the game. It's actually really easy to do, and for some reason it's something I struggle with a lot, so I was happy I actually hit it in this run. It's become like an ongoing joke in the streams that I just cannot hit a boat clutch. But we're still like a minute away from this bastion. And this run that you're watching was after about an hour of attempts. It took me, I would say I spent a really long time routing this, so maybe that's why, like, really putting the extra time in routing made me feel a lot more confident. But this is just organizing all my inventory, getting as many blocks as I can in my hotbar, because I want to use all the weird blocks so that I can pick up trades easier in the housing and just kind of not have to worry about it, especially if I end up breaking a chest or something. This guy scared me, but he just falls, so that was cool. I didn't have to worry about him too much. But again, I'm looking for a hoglin here, and I'm just not seeing one. I'm not seeing a hoglin, so I'm a little bit stuck. Oh, this is something I actually forgot to mention in the routing. Keen Eye viewers probably caught on to it. I was going to have to grab wood at some point because the wood that I'm getting from the TNT just is not enough for the entire run. But thankfully, it was never really a concern to me because I'm running around the Crimson so much. So I pretty much picked wherever like I felt like I was pretty safe from like a piglin or a hoglin. And since I was approaching the bastion at this point, I didn't have a hoglin. I was like, okay, I might as well get the wood now. And then you can see getting up to this top point in the bastion, going over here, I'm going to grab the stuff that I need. So that is just going to be the armor. I could probably have done this a little bit cleaner, like just because it wasn't really necessary. That break is just to anger the other piglins, and then I punch those guys because I don't want them to waste their time trading. Now, the gold pick actually comes in kind of clutch here because I can mine those guys in a little bit earlier. I actually did die a decent amount of times to the piglins just like cornering me when I was like mining that, which is usually not a concern. So I don't know why it was like more of a concern on this seed. Maybe because Crimson and there were like more pigs pushing each other. But you can tell I have a absolutely metric butt ton of pigs, and I'm watching my food pretty carefully here because I want to save as much as I can since I haven't had a hoglin yet for pearling. Now, I know that I'm going to have to eat now for the cooked cod. I want to get my health up before I start pearling, so I'm near full health and can pearl a lot before having to worry about my health again. But my food is just not great. Like, obviously, I'm saving the salmon because the salmon is the better food than the cod, but it is just not a good situation right now. So here we go. Trading the gold, all of that set up. I'm going to eat the second cod again, pretty much insta. Like, a lot of times you want to save it, like manage your food, but I want to get as much health as I can to pearl as much as I can. Now we're going to check the inventory. Looking good. I want to have enough explosives to zero cycle, and then obviously I only need 10 obsidian. I have 10 obsidian. I have a butt ton of pearls. I have enough string. I'm kind of overcooking here in the inventory. Like, I know I have enough fire res, and I'm out. I feel good here. I could have probably done that like a second or two faster, but then we're out in this part. I really like the creative, like, pearl routing on the seed. Like, leaving through there and getting to this spot to get to the terrain felt really good, and you can see now it's just absolutely cranking pearls. I'm trying to overlap as much as I can with crafting things like string or glowstone or nether brick and stuff like that. This pearl, I think, ended up working out really well. It was a little bit different from other pearls, but especially because I had less food, I wanted to go over where I normally go because I would normally throw like an extra pearl here, but I just did not have the food for that. So I ran a lot more than I normally would. I threw the pearl across the gap here because I knew I could from saving the other pearl. And then I have to hit this pearl. This is like the scariest pearl in the whole run. I do a pretty good job. I would have liked to be maybe a block higher or so, but like that was good, I think. That was good, I think. So then we're up here, again, organizing inventory, making sure that I'm going to be able to craft everything that I need to on these pearls. It's a really, really good habit to get into if you're speedrunning, to try and overlap as much as you can on the pearls. Now, that was a pretty cool tech there. I tried to use the lava to, like, guide my fall a little bit because I am very low on health, and I want to make sure that I am probably going to have to hunger reset here, so I'm going to lose my one of my respawn anchors, one of my explosives for 0. I do get a stray blaze here that drops, which is really nice, just on the way to the spawner. And then I'm getting my TNT set up. Probably should have had this in my hotbar a little bit earlier, but it's fine. It's okay. And now we're going to do a nice setup here with soul sand. Because soul sand is actually not a full block, you can only place one nether brick or one hard block to the side of it, blocking the spawner. And it's really nice that you're able to do that because it blows up more space. Very slightly, but anything helps, right? So now I have my anchor. Thankfully, I did have one anchor from the bastion, or else I would have just been completely screwed. I get spawned on here. Thankfully, I don't get hit. If I got hit, it could have been like a little bit dicey. But I have a ton of blazes. I already have 2 rods. I do need 5 to leave. So I'm just going to focus on killing these guys. And then basically, once I feel like the spawner is in a cleared out way, or when I take damage from that guy, I'm going to decide, okay, it's time to hunger reset. But I forgot about the fence on the side here, and I almost get super punished. But thankfully, I do get my pickaxe, and I'm able to pick up all my items. Otherwise, I would have had to mine through the netherrack with my fist, or netherbrick with my fist, and that would have been not fun. So now I need to craft my explosives. So I have an absolutely insane amount of beds. I don't really need more than 7, so I just decided to keep 7. I load my crossbow because that's going to be really cool if you've never seen that in a 0 cycle before. It allows me to skip a rotation and do extra damage with beds, and I get my 5th rod. So I am out, and you can see, like, I've maybe lost like 20 seconds to being like slow and just not amazing at the game, but everything is so tight on this seed because I have so much space to move. I have to cover so much ground on this seed, and we're finally going to cords. The pearl is pretty good. Sometimes I've landed like in the ravine and it saves me a little bit of time, but that's fine. I know exactly where I need to dig, and I know exactly what height I need to get to. These cords are actually, no, these are the right cords, I'm pretty sure. So I'm setting this up. Boom, boom, boom. Have everything ready. I want to get, I don't know why I did that when I had a flint and steel in my hotbar, but sometimes I forget. And again, this pace is tight. 0 cycles usually take about a minute, and I need to enter the end like right now. So here we go. Eyes ready. I know I'm pre-crafted. I have to get my beds and my explosives in my hotbar, which is not something that I'm super comfortable with doing. But here we go. I'm doing it. I have everything out, except I don't have a freaking bed. So I need a bed in my hotbar. So let's do that. Let's make that a thing. And guess what? Just like the Parker Rec Rap set seed video, for some reason I don't have hitboxes on, but thankfully it doesn't matter too much because I am still able to get the first bed off, and it does nice damage. Then I get a nice crossbow, and I will let you see my reaction to completing this run in under 10 minutes. Enjoy the rest of the 0. Oh my god, let's freaking go! Let's freaking go! We brought it home! Bang! Oh my god, that nether is so bad. With a hunger reset is crazy. With a hunger reset is crazy for the sub 10. Dude, let's freaking go. Let's freaking go. That was a really fun route. That was a really fun route. In total, this only took about an hour of running compared to 20 hours last year. Sure, this was a pretty Mickey Mouse seed with not too much variance, but I'm taking it as a good omen going into 2025. If you enjoy this set seed content, definitely let me know. I used to do a lot more of this in the past, but I think if I find the right way to do it and I find enough cool seeds, I think they can be really enjoyable, especially if I ever tried to do it on a recent version or maybe using ranked for more consistent drop rates from piglins and stuff. Anyway, thank you so much. I hope everyone had a lovely holidays and a happy new year to everyone watching. I'm looking forward to doing this again for the 2026 seed, and I hope to see you all again in a video very soon.